Hello everyone and welcome to some Super Mario Maker 2, where today I'm going to be showing a level that I created to completely recreate one of the challenges that I faced. That being, collecting every single coin in Wario Land Shake It. And to be precise, lowdown depths. Now, lowdown depths was a speedrun level from Wario Land Shake It, and the timer became incredibly precise as you had to actually go ahead and collect every coin in my challenge. Now, I decided to go ahead and recreate that here, adding on the coin restriction of needing 800 coins in order to beat the level. This is supposed to sort of recreate the challenging feel. But without further ado, let's jump right into it. I'll start off by playing through the level before I go ahead and actually show all the sort of intricacies and how I sort of tried to recreate the feeling. But without further ado, let's go. Now I go ahead and hit this on-off switch, which gives me a key, but also sends me down into the lowdown depths. We enter a pipe, and you might be noticing that there's two colors of pipe. The blue ones are supposed to represent loading zones, as they'll take you to new spots. And the red ones spawn mushrooms, which is supposed to represent how the max dash or the max fastosity dasherators from Wario Land Shake It would actually go ahead and speed you up. The red pipes give you a power-up. And for a bunch of the sections, a power-up is actually necessary as you'll have the damage boost before getting another mushroom. So it's best not to lose your mushroom. We can collect all the coins here before going ahead and moving on to the next section. And of course we're going to have Galoombas to represent the Bandoneros. We have to go through here. And this room was probably one of the most fun because there's a lot of switches that you have to make sure actually toggle something. And you can't make them toggle the same thing. But all that will be explained when I actually go through an in-depth sort of explanation on everything. Now, one thing you might be wondering is, why is this a speed run? Or why did I call it that? I had 200 seconds to start off with. Well, I'm going to need every one of those last 200 seconds. Or at least pretty much. As we have pretty much no time to spare. We head through the door, and then we can slide down again. Do a nice duck jump, and now we're able to go through into this room. Some doors are also supposed to represent loading zones, but it only changes depending on whether I need to use the vertical sub area, or if I need to go ahead and have a nice long stretch of land. Surprisingly, this is in the normal area, not the vertical sub area, even though I'm using stairs. And it was just barely able to fit the entire thing that I needed. And now we have the elevator room. And I tried to recreate it a little bit differently, including a bomb instead of making these metal bricks. Mostly because they don't exist in this game. You have to go through here, catch your ride, make your way into the door, and you have another bomb. I messed up, and yeah, that's why I have a reset door. And there we go. We can head in here and collect another 50 coin. And we have a whole 30 seconds left. Yeah, this level definitely does come down to the wire. We collect a mushroom before heading through here. We have to open up these passageways, and I give a nice long stretch of coins. We have to trigger an on-off block, and then we can go ahead and re-trigger this entire way back. And what do you know? We're back at the beginning. But now that we have the key, we can enter the door. And there we go. We receive our 1-up. And that's Lowdown Depths. So, how did I recreate a bunch of this stuff? Let's go through it. The first thing to note is the beginning, where I include a blue pipe. Now, this blue pipe is supposed to represent the loading zone that normally takes you to the cave. And this also brings me to a vertical sub area, which is necessary because you have this whole tube downwards. Now, this on-off block is supposed to sort of represent the cage that the Murphle is in. And after being triggered, it triggers these blue blocks to become solid for when you're running back, and it triggers these red blocks to become, well, disappeared. We have a piranha plant over here that is also behind or in front of a blue block, and it has a key in it. So the moment that the on-off block gets triggered, the piranha plant goes ahead and dies, giving you the key. After that, you fall down here, and we have this little section. I decided to make it like this because these piranha plants are supposed to represent the breakable bricks, and how this slope would be so steep you would actually slip down it in Wario Land, and I would destroy these blocks. So I made it so you have to actually slide down. You fall down here, and you get your first pink pipe with a mushroom in it, or a blue pipe that actually takes you to the next area. Although I give you a mushroom at the beginning of a section, so it's mostly useless, but just in case. Next we have this section, which is supposed to be a complete recreation of the first real room in the level. Now the hard part was actually thinking of a way to make it so you are required to be sort of sliding to get into this lower section. Because in Wario Land Shake It, you would have the dash cannon, which is represented with the mushroom here, and you would have to break through some breakable bricks. Now I ended up being able to recreate it by having a little slope here, where if you're going at a high speed, you can actually slide down it, put you in a sliding animation to knock out these piranha plants. I didn't really know how to add some bandoneros, so I just put some buzzy beetles just in case you were going slow. You will actually bounce off of them into the spikes. I have a couple of coin jumps, and I also have this vine that's supposed to represent a ladder. Although if you're taking it, it's going to be way too slow. You have another jump, and then you can actually slide down once again, and then you get what's supposed to be a treasure chest, or in this case a 30 coin. Next you run up here, you bounce off some springs, and then you can slide through here. Now, normally you can't even get in this way in the original game, so that's why I have a one-way here. You run back here, there's coins over here, a longer jump, and then you make your way up here. Now I want to make sure the player has a mushroom. I tried to signify it here, but it gets cut off by the vertical screen scrolling and how it doesn't do that. But after you damage boost through, you'll get a mushroom, and then you can enter this door. This door takes you here, which is supposed to represent this outside from the original game. Now, because it would take too many big coins, I just decided to make these sort of blobs of coins, or ellipses of coins, as well as coins running along the bottom. Now, the floating golden bandonero was probably the hardest thing to recreate, because I really did want to have just a floating thing, and you had to pick up a Galumba and toss it up here. But there wouldn't be any way to really signify it without the player being able to just jump up and grab it. So the best thing I thought of was just to create something sort of new and have some cloud platforms that you can jump on. And I think it turned out okay. You enter another loading zone, and you get to another vertical sub-area. This one probably being one of the most complex. First of all, we have on-off blocks. And the whole thing about the on-off blocks was, all the way back at the beginning, all the way back up here, we triggered this on-off block. So we removed these blocks from existing. So that way when you come out of a pipe, you can actually run back. So if we trigger an off block down here, it will completely mess that up. And we're also giving the player a choice of either activating it or not. This probably being one of the hardest things to sort of figure out. So I went ahead and I did this. I made it so if you hit this on-off block, you can't get out of this room. This exit gets blocked because you now have turned the on-off block on, and this exit really doesn't help you that much because you can't get back this way. Now it also opens up this blue blocks, allowing you to grab these coins. Now you'd still be stuck with the problem of these things being open up and you not being able to get back, except for the fact that I have another on-off block here that will allow you to trigger these blocks, and then you can slip out through the one-way. Since there's a max fastosity dasherator here, I put a red pipe with a mushroom in it. And then we get up here. We have a P-switch that will activate these blocks to turn into coins, as well as if it'll allow us to ricochet off of those springs and make our way down here. But there's one tiny problem with these blocks. Now you see, I have an 800 coin limit, or a clear condition, and I can't increase it. But technically, shouldn't that be considered the max amount of coins? Well, if you trigger this P-switch and you collect these coins, that would mean there should be 802, because the game somewhat recognizes them. Basically what I'm saying is, there was 798 coins in the level. These 2 bricks add on the fact that it could be more than that, and you'll collect 800 coins. Although the game will say, well, you could collect those, you could not, and it can't tell whether you will or not, making it this clear condition be 798. And this is a problem because now if you actually go ahead and collect those, you'll have a 2 coin leniency. And what's the fun in that? To solve this problem, I went ahead and I believe in my sub area, I put 2 extra coins, making it so you have to collect at least 800, being the max. But with that out of the way, we can go ahead and collect these 2 bricks. We can go ahead and collect the coins, collect the power block, which allows us to get past the muncher. Also, it will drop the 30 coin. Sometimes it'll bounce off the springs, sometimes it won't. It really depends. We can collect that and head back up. Surprisingly, jumping isn't even the fastest way up these little platforms. I spaced them in a way so that way you can actually just spin jump. And it's actually faster than regular jumping. And I think that sort of recreates the pivot jumps that you normally have to do. But with that out of the way, we can damage boost through another saw and make our way into a pipe. Now here we have a fish. This is supposed to represent the fish that is in the original game that would go ahead and make you wait for a second. Or not wait for a second, but he could be a problem, as if you missed your jump on a vine, you would actually fall directly onto him. I sort of turned that on its head here, as you have to bounce off the fish in order to reach the vine, and then you can collect the 30 coin. Then we get over here where there's another max fastosity dasherator, which will allow us to proceed through the level. Also, we have coins here on these sort of raising platforms. And then we can make our way over to this monstrosity. Now, in the original game, you could either go up or down. Now, if you went down, you would have to slide, and you could collect some big coins. The problem with that here is there's nowhere to slide. That's why I included the door that'll put you up here on a slope. And up here, there really isn't anything of worth, so I didn't put anything there. We have another jump before heading into this door, which takes us all the way down here. Now this door brings us to this room, and most of it's pretty basic with some bandoneros or galoombas. And then we can make our way over here, and this is supposed to represent the secret room that you can make your way over to that you'd have to slide into, having a little bit of a slope and a jumping piranha plant. In that room, of course, included a max velocity dash raider as well as a bunch of coins. Then we had this little section of raising stairs, where we can go ahead and we then have a bunch of coins over here. Also, I had run out of large coins here, so I just decided to fill up an area with it. And now we make it to the most fun room, the elevator room. Also, if you're wondering why there is some rooms with semi-solids and some without, the main reason is some rooms are just too tall to put a semi-solid. And if you put a second one, it kind of doesn't allow you to go down after you pass the first one. But here we have another max velocity dash raider, and then we have these elevator platforms that are moving up and down. Now in the original game, you're supposed to use Dash Wario in order to break through metal bricks to collect coins, or a diamond in this case. And then you could head out onto the platform. The problem with this is, well, there isn't really anything that you could do to have a max velocity dash raider. But that's why I went ahead and used these stone bricks. But we also have the bombs, and these little guys are really helpful in this case because they can actually blow up the brick. So I made you actually go ahead and collect a bomb and blow up these. And I make you do the same thing for a treasure up here, to sort of make it similar. Then we have another damage boost, and then we make it to the home stretch. Here we have this little button that I make you have to jump for. Now, in the original game, this would be a whole lot taller, but I was kind of running out of space at this time. 'Cause, yes, it kind of is a big level. But with that, yeah, I was sort of restricted to this upper area. So I make it so you have to actually hit this block, and then it opens up this passageway, as well as the one all the way over here. Now, these little blocks, I just decided to add for fun, because it's a pretty long stretch, and it'd be kind of boring to just not have anything. Now, again, we've hit an on-off switch, or we could not have. We could have missed it. Now, that causes a little bit of a problem, because we're about to enter the pipe that takes us back. So what I went ahead and did is I made it so we have an on-off switch, where if you hit it, this will become solid, and then you can actually enter the pipe, taking you back to the sort of beginning. With that, you can go through here. These blocks become solid. These are gone. You can run through, and since you've gotten the key from the very beginning, representing the Merfolk, you can actually go ahead, enter the pipe, and enter the door. And with that, that's basically how I recreated Lowdown Depths with every single coin in Mario Maker 2. I guess, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.